Welcome to Innov-8 presents Entrepreneurs in Tech. Today we're delighted to have our guest Tushar Kansal, who is the founder and CEO at Consultancy Venture. Tushar, thank you for joining us today. Could you please start by introducing yourself and providing us with some insights on your background and expertise before we dive into it?
Thank you,
Before
Bob.
we dive into it, thank you. My pleasure, sir.
Yeah. I am, someone who's been working for a long time in the financial field. I was trained as an engineer and later on did my MBA in finance from University of Delhi. And apart from my entrepreneurial stints, wherein I founded two companies and invested in eight other companies, I have been part of the leadership team at Deloitte and Touche, and also India's largest venture capital fund by the number of deals, Brand Capital, owned by the Times of India Group. And I was heading treasury at the telecom company MTS, raised almost $2.5 billion for them over a period of 3 years. And I
Amazing.
was, thank you, and I was CFO with Distribution Logistics. That's a company owned by the American private equity fund Guggenheim Partners. Since 2016, I've been managing my company, Consultancy Ventures, and we have been at the right time, at the right moment, and we have helped over 1,000 startups in the last 9 years. Apart from advising a number of funds invest and intelligently help the company scale up. So that is about me, and
Tushar, I know you summed it for us, but we would need probably this is going to be, we need to be a whole day interview. This is not a 45-minute interview. Forget it. All these accolades and accomplishment and achievements, your
thank you.
journey is so far, it must have been amazingly or interestingly amazing, I would say.
It was quite amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, you know what? Let's start with what first got you into engineering. You went to finance and led your time at from engineering. That's what led your time into Indorama synthetics.
Yeah, so what happened, Bob, was that I was an avid reader. I used to read a lot. I used to buy books and read a lot, and so much was happening in the 90s. Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon had come in, and I used to think that the world is actually owned by technology guys and finance guys, those who manage the money and those who manage the technology. And my father was from India's number one engineering institution, Indian Institute of Technology, and I always aspired towards that. So that is why I ended up doing engineering, and I got campus placement through a large polyester manufacturing company, Indorama Synthetics, and that's how I went to Indorama. And while I was at Indorama, I prepared for my MBA because I wanted to learn finance as well, and that is how I went into University of Delhi for my MBA finance.
You also got involved in coaching, business coaching. You started your own venture called Kites PVT Ltd. And how did that influence your entrepreneurial journey? Or that was the start, should we say, of your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, I was very lucky. I got through one of the educational institutions here, which was started by three brothers from IIT, and I used to study there, and I used to see that this business actually helps so many people, so many students, and it earns so much. And that's how I got exposure, and that's how I teamed up with my father, and we set up Kites Private Limited and scaled the business within a period of 5 years from one center to three centers, and with around 800 students. And finally, a lot of competition was coming in the area where we had our centers, and we decided to seek exit or to invest more in the business. Luckily, we got a very good exit, and one of the national entrance companies called Narayana, they gave us a very good offer, so we exited the company.
Wow, congratulations. So that was your first, I would say, major step into the not just entrepreneurial, more the business venture and money world. Yes. Um, Tushar, what was it like working at a private equity deals at Deloitte? And any key takeaway from there?
Well, when I joined Deloitte, I was so amazed to see that the depth to which these guys do their analysis, form their financial models, learn, understand each number. And, if they are analyzing a particular deal, they will analyze it totally from the perspective of financial side, compliance side, contract side, accounting side. And every team has specialists who come together to do the deal. And it was great learning opportunity. And they also give you in case you are doing good work and wanting to learn more and more, they will give you exposure to so many things. So while being at Deloitte, I learned how to make a financial model, how to do valuation of companies, how to do due diligence of companies, how to make term sheets for investing in companies or buyouts, and the legal side of things, the financial side of things, the organizational side of things. It was really amazing, and a lot of support was given by the international parent, Deloitte US and Deloitte UK, and they gave us a lot of templates which we could easily fill and take it to the client, and that was a whole new way of learning things very fast.
Amazing. Tushar, you also, you were part of a team that invested $100 million at Brand Capital. What was the experience like?
Well, I was an advisor at Deloitte, and from there coming to the buy side where we actually put in the money, it was, a great opportunity. I used to have very negative view about so many companies, but when I presented those cases in front of the investment committee, which had the CEO and also the CFO, and I learned that okay, this is the way we look at companies, how this money can grow big, and how do we have to structure the deal to safeguard ourselves, how if we should keep some control features to safeguard ourselves as well, how to how to look at the valuation of a particular company at a particular stage of the business. And it was a totally amazing learning opportunity. We invested in a social network, we invested in apparel companies, we invested in an infrastructure company which was creating a huge expressway, and it was amazing. I remember, after working there, I used to think that this is what I want to do at some stage in life.
I like that. So you had it all planned out previously in your head. You
Yeah.
knew the path that you wanted to
Thankfully,
take.
Bob. Yeah.
Yes. Tushar, you do a lot. You do a lot of speaking engagement, and also you're a coach, business coach, speaker. What is the main thing that you focus on when you give speeches for entrepreneurs or new businesses who try to expand or try to transition? Some new businesses want to grow, they're just starting out, and businesses who already have some growth, but they want to grow more and transition from where they are to more the AI digital space. What's
That's
some of the yes?
That's a very good question, Bob. So I'll tell you, a lot of people who come into entrepreneurship, they come for the wrong reasons. They look at Elon Musk, they look at trillion-dollar valuations, and they feel that they will be able to do it. And they look at the hype, they look at the media, the so much of people wanting to talk to you, want to know about you. There's nothing wrong in
Being inspired by others,
yeah,
but
there's nothing wrong in it, but you have to remember that ultimately your success is linked to solving a problem statement. And so, how do you identify the problem statement? How fundamental that problem is for human beings, for our planet, and how will you be going to, go about solving it? So, those are critical things, because you will be at it for number of years. So, you have to be very sure why you want to do this. Otherwise, there is nothing wrong in doing a job also at a good company and making money from that. There is nothing wrong in that, right? So for me, choosing the right reason is what I advise people. I also advise them that don't think about straight away jumping to how will you become a unicorn. Rather, you plan for the next 3 months to 6 months, and always have small teams. Let the business outcomes decide how many people you want to recruit, and always build strong moats, as in always keep technology or something like some factor which makes this company very strong in the face of competition. And so these are my basic, and don't neglect your health. End of the day, you will be doing this, but you have to enjoy the money also, which will come to you eventually. For that, your health has to be good, and your team, they look up to you and they see that you are balancing everything. Then your team will also try and balance everything out. So these are the basic things I tell in my talks. I've done more than 300 talks, and across academia and corporate platforms.
So a lot of the mistake, I would say, and from what you're saying, there are a lot of entrepreneurs who get into business, and whether they're straight out of college or quit college or they had a job and they left their job, they get inspired, which is, as you said, nothing wrong with it, but they focus more on the money, not on the outcome of the idea, and if what problems that we need to fix out there and how can we advance. So they're more driven, focused on the money, and that's I would say, the path to failure. Correct? When you focus, your main objective is the money, and just to make money, and which is nothing wrong with making money, but in order to do that, you have to set the path the right way. There's other things that need to be in order.
Absolutely, Bob.
Do you think a lot of entrepreneurs right now, or a lot of young people, let me take that, change the question actually. A lot of the young people feel so much pressure, social pressure to be an entrepreneur. And if you're not an entrepreneur, you're a loser, you're a failure because you have a job.
See, in our part of the world, like in India, the families are, mostly middle class families. So their safety net is not very strong. So, what they tell their children is do a job. But, I started
Nothing
considering
wrong with it. Nothing wrong with having a
nothing
job,
wrong in it,
going
but,
to school and graduating and having a job.
yeah, yeah, but things are changing because see, there are not too many jobs, and there are more number of people studying and coming out with good degrees and good education. So the government has been here promoting the startup industry. I'll give you a very small statistic. In 2016, when I started Consultancy Ventures, there were only 416 startups registered with Startup India. Today, there are 140,000.
Wow, unbelievable.
Explosion.
104
Yeah. There
43,000.
has been an explosion of entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship was always strong in India, but people used to do traditional businesses. But after they saw the success of these technology entrepreneurs and what they have done, it's a whole new field out there which has got opened up.
Tushar, look at yourself. You had an amazing, successful journey. Uh, you didn't start by say, "Hey, I want to create a startup right away." You went through you graduated, you got jobs, you understood the market, you gained the experience, you developed the network, you knew what the value of money in the business, and you saw what's broken, what's needed to be fixed, and what problems out there, and what challenges, and what kind of solutions I need to create to solve these challenges and problems. To me, a lot of the most successful people I came across, or I should say successful startups who became big companies, and they exited out of them and they made money and they became an entrepreneurs and they sold and got involved in more companies, they went the same path that you went.
Oh, they first learned the things in a company and then they did the entrepreneurship.
because you learn the market, you learn
You
what's
learn
the
a lot.
problems out there.
You learn a lot.
Yes, you develop connections, and then again, you got to have your higher degrees. You got to have your high degrees.
Yeah, yeah. It's,
Uh,
amazing. People say that Mark Zuckerberg left college and, Steve Jobs left college and stuff like that. But actually, 94% of the startup founders, they have done their education and then they started.
yes, yes, absolutely. Um, you were involved in raising $2.5 billion for MTS India, and that's not an easy thing. What was the challenges that you faced raising not much money? I couldn't imagine raising $2.5 billion. How did the whole idea came together, and what was your role, and how did you actually came up with that number and accomplished it?
It was not easy, Bob. This was done over a period of 3 years. My company had taken telecom licenses from a private company here, and all those got involved in a court case where the government of India challenged the way the company had obtained licenses. So no bank was touching us, right? And we were in losses. I mean, I remember at some point in time our losses were $2 billion. So what I did was I took support of foreign banks, and one good part about the group was that they had subsidiaries in many countries, and all of them had a cross default clause signed with each other. So any company of their group, if it defaults on a debt in any country, then all of the debt will be considered as default. So they couldn't afford to default, so they always supported the other companies by giving them money, because they wanted a fair name with the bankers, that no company of this group ever uh, doesn't give back bankers money. So that is why the name was there. So I utilized that name. I used the international connections of this company. Got the right people to meet the bankers in the right country, and got put them pressure that lend in India because we are getting stuck there, and used international structuring like corporate guarantees and a letter of credits and discounting, and created these three country structures which were very complicated kind of deals. That is why I raised in terms of numbers almost 2.5 billion dollars across Raiffeisen Bank, Deutsche Bank, State Bank of India, Central Bank, ING, and so all these small uh, tickets like $100 million from here, 300 from there, and it was not easy at all because the court case was there, the media limelight was there, and it was very adverse conditions.
Wow. Yes, I would give a course on it. I mean, the experience that you went through wasn't easy, but definitely a lifetime education for you,
Yeah, it
I would
was.
say.
And
Yes.
I loved working with some of the people who I learned so much how to even like how to utilize your relationships. I mean, it's it was amazing.
Yes. Tushar, being being a CFO at Guggenheim Partners in Delhi, how did that kind of changed or shaped your leadership role and style?
Well, one thing I learned while being the CFO, reporting to my boss sitting in the US, who was managing all the funds, and our funds used to come from there. He used to have a control on every number. So he will ask me to come on a 3 hour call every Friday, wherein he used to ask me about every number in the financial model, which I used to send him every week. So he used to
Wow.
ask me, okay, how much time will this thing last? How much time cash you have for lasting for how many days? How much will go in operating expenditure? How much will go in capital expenditure? Why can't we reduce this number? And he used to grill on the numbers all day long. And my CEO used to be there, and there was so much of pressure, and there was performance pressure on the CEO also, because the numbers can only change if the CEO is doing something right. So,
Yes.
so it was not easy. I mean, the company was under a lot of stress because the land which they were acquiring for infrastructure projects saw many delays. So because of those delays, the costs associated with the project kept on going up. And
Well, the first one to go out is the CEO. So I hope they didn't ask you to be the CEO. It's like, you know what? I'll stick with the numbers. I don't want to be the CEO. I don't want that pressure.
end of the day, it's, I understood one thing. If you are managing your investee companies, all the time you have to keep an eye on the cash flows. And how is the cash flowing in each of the companies, and that is your
Yes.
primary responsibility.
What made you decide to go on your own and start consultancy ventures?
Bob, what happened was I completed my entire cycle, like starting from entrepreneurship coaching, then, rising all the way to CFO of a Guggenheim Partners company. So I thought that, I've learned everything. I've learned corporate finance, treasury, I've learned investing, I've learned advisory, financial advisory. So I thought, why not start on my own? So I started with a startup and I failed miserably because in a startup you can't have you have to keep everything very tight. And I
Yes.
was coming from a big corporate where it was very easy to spend money on things. So so I failed miserably, but then
And you
I
use your own money? Not to interrupt you, excuse me. Use your own money
yeah,
in that startup.
I lost a good amount of money in terms of dollars, uh, probably $200,000. So I lost that money in a startup, and then I said, 20 years I have been doing finance, so I should be doing finance only. That is when I set up Consultancy Ventures, 2016.
Right. Amazing.
And I always loved investing, so I started advising entrepreneurs how to set up processes, how to raise funding, how to make your company funding ready, how to stop playing entirely on the profit and loss side, rather you start playing on the balance sheet side, and what an investor looks for. So venture capital TV, which was they were doing shows, so they started calling me, and then Business World started calling me, and then CNN News 18 called me. I used to write a blog, Indus Churning, and it had
Yeah.
2.6 million hits.
Wow.
And and CNN News 18 producer saw that, and he started calling me on his 9 p.m. prime time shows. And so it was very exciting, very, very exciting.
Great. So only success, my friend. Only success.
No, no, lot of failures as well, Bob. Lot of
But I
failures.
would, yes. Well, you know what? A lot of hard work. A lot of hard
Yeah,
work
for
and
sure.
a lot of perseverance. I see a lot of, you didn't give up. You kept just going.
Yeah,
And the failure to you, every time you failed to you was just, oh, I got to learn something new. I just learned something new. I need to learn this better.
absolutely.
Tushar, obviously being through all of this, developed an amazing network, vast network of VCs, 400 VCs and financial institution. How do you tap into these, you know, uh, to your network, whether it's a financial institution or a VC, venture capital company or capitalist? How do you tap into them for startups? If startups, I'm sure a lot of startups come to you to your consultancy services. They say, "Hey, Tushar, we want you to help us. We try to raise money. We're a AI tech company. We're AI medical, healthcare, education, all of that."
Uh, well, what I do is that I have a keen database, a keen sense of understanding from a database which we maintain as to what is the investment thesis of each investor. And based on that thesis, we discuss with the investor whether he still has money for investing, or he has exhausted the entire fund. So we know which are the active investors in this particular sector, and what is their thesis. So we first of all just discuss the deal with them on a very short call, on a no name basis, and we generate the first level of interest. And the way I maintain a network with them is, of course, I do these panel discussions where a large number of investors come. I do a lot of events as well where people call me to speak. So it's a good time to exchange views with different kind of investors, and so that is how we form a database, a good understanding where the market is going, where a good amount of money is flowing. Like right now, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and these things are more hot. So it is all out of experience, and the time we have spent in building the relationships.
You're also a venture advisor for Loyal VC. How do you work with their massive portfolio of startups all over the world?
Well, Loyal VC is index fund of alumni of INSEAD France, and the both the founders, the GPs, are from Canada, and they have given us a dashboard access to all their investee companies, where we can easily reach out to any of their investee company, and if they have any requirement, whether it is wanting a network, wanting management know-how, or wanting funding. So these companies are free to approach us, and we are also free to approach any of them. And that is because of the technology which Loyal VC has deployed, which has made it very easy for us to understand which kind of company this is, and what they are doing, and what are their numbers, how much revenue they are doing. So we are able to guide them in a very short span of time.
You've seen startups in 63 plus countries. What big trends are you seeing in the venture capital space right now?
Right now, Bob, everybody, whether it is a big company, MNC, multinational, or it is a startup, everybody wants less and less number of people in their organization. And everybody is deploying technology and automating things. And you look at the large banks, or even you look at the small startups, we have neobanks. Neobanks is a bank where no employee of the bank will interact with the customer. All the interaction of the customer will be on a platform, and there will be no human interaction. So people
Wow.
are thinking in terms of having the least number of employees. Uh, my feeling is that if you try and automate things at that kind of a level, it will definitely increase the unemployment in many countries. So,
Yes.
so I feel that there has to be a hybrid approach, that you can automate some things, but for some things, human beings are cheaper and more reliable. So that is what I
And
see.
people still like to deal with people. You know that.
Sorry.
People like to deal with people.
Yeah, people like to deal with people, and that's the warmth when you talk to your relationship manager, and he, advises you things basis his, his understanding of your side of things. So I'm kind of like self-driving cars. Sometimes I feel that why do you require self-driving cars? But again, this is like it is different from country to country. In some
Yes.
countries, it is much required. In some countries, it can not be so much required. And then there is cyber security, because we have these hacking things so much happening every day. And climate, in India,
Excuse
in
me.
New Delhi, this time, the summers, for the first time, we saw a temperature of 54 degrees centigrade. It was
Wow.
so hot, I've never seen, I have lived in Delhi for 40 years, never seen so much of heat.
Wow.
So, climate
That
is
is
a real
hot.
thing. And so,
You know, I would say before I announce this, congratulations that Consultancy Ventures won Best Startup Support or Supporter. What do you think made your work and company stand out for you to earn such an amazing, privileged award?
thank you so much, Bob. Actually, this award was very special for us because it was for our work in the STEM field. And also, it was given by Dr. Kiran Bedi, who's the first female IPS officer of India. So she's known for her hard work and honesty. So that's why we were very happy about it. And see, the reason we got it is because we have genuinely tried to help startups, in the areas in which we can genuinely help them. And we primarily help in three ways. One is through our network, we get them some business or we get them funding. Second is management know-how. We tell them how to do their go-to-market, how to set up processes, and the third is by arranging capital and debt for them. So it is because of those, our good work done in these three areas that we were given that particular award, and really happy about it.
Amazing. Congratulations again. You have a blog called Indus Churning. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, Indus
Indus
Churning.
Churning. Yes. It's very popular. And what inspired you to start this blog?
Well, I used to see people, on the media side and, not actually telling the reality of things, be it in, a lot of areas like entrepreneurship, technology, and, so I felt that there has to be a platform where I am able to voice my views on those things. And I wrote totally honestly. I did my own research, and there were 59 articles which were there in my blog, 2.6 million hits. And as I told you before, like CNN News 18 used to call me after seeing that blog. There was a small incident. One of my friends called me. He said, "What are you doing nowadays?" I said, "Nothing. I'm just doing my work."
Excuse me.
He said, "I was flying and discussing about some things with a person next to me. And this person told me, 'Have you read Tushar Kansal's blog? You read that blog.'" And this friend of mine said, "Some stranger is talking about your name in the flight." So those things started happening to me, and it was a lot of satisfaction. I didn't do it to earn money. It was basically to help people with,
Yeah.
the reality of many things and genuine research.
Tushar, you've done over 300 talks, including TEDx. What an impressive number. What's the main message you try to leave with your audience?
Well, I always tell everybody that it's a very small life. Uh, we live one decade at a time, and you look back and you suddenly realize 10 years have gone by. One day you are enjoying your kids, you are enjoying your daughter, your son, and next day they are gone to college and they're
Yes.
gone. So, so life, looks very stable, but actually it goes around in decades. So, don't do anything which later on you will say that I should not have done it. And always keep happiness first, keep a balance first, keep your health first, and do a business, sell something which you will yourself want to buy. If you yourself want to buy something, that is the thing you can sell. Don't sell something which you will yourself don't not buy. So so ethical aspect has to be there, and ultimately money beyond a point does not provide happiness, but it definitely gives you a lot of freedom to do a lot of things. And these my basic messages. I also tell everybody that do a lot of reading nowadays because of the screens. Our mind runs very
Yes.
fast because we are bombarded with information. So that what happens is you lose patience for reading.
True.
So
True.
so read a lot, and I give these simple messages everywhere.
Very interesting. What is the future goals for Tushar and for the other ventures in the coming year or years?
Well, I'm in the process of setting up a venture builder focused on consumer startups, and also a small VC fund which will primarily cater to the climate issue. and will definitely focus on technology. That goes without saying. And apart from that, my usual work with startups goes on, and my talks and all, which I keep on doing. So that goes on. But primarily, these two areas are new
new
areas.
areas. So you're going to be focusing more on sustainability.
Sustainability,
Yeah.
absolutely, and also uh, on some more areas like detoxification of from screens and all those health related things.
Very interesting. If somebody wants to get a hold of Tushar, how would they do that? Through LinkedIn, through social media, through your platform,
Through
to your
LinkedIn,
consultancy
I'm very
venture?
active on
Are you
LinkedIn.
active on LinkedIn? Yes, and that's how we came across each other. Yes, you're always active and posting,
Absolutely.
and very impressive. Tushar, I want to say thank you for joining us today at Innovate Presents Entrepreneurs in Tech. Be sure to connect with us on social media. Until next time, keep innovating, stay curious, and take care. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share Innovate Presents Entrepreneurs in Tech podcast. And if you're joining us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.